Hello everybody, it's Billy Cultus today. What a big surprise. Look at the sign. Obey the sign. Goodbye sign. Now, today I got something pretty basic. I just decided that I would kind of go over rotators in very little depth because I'm not a logic smart guy. I tend to, in Dreams, mostly do modeling and stuff more than I do any of the mechanical stuff like logic, but I know a surface level amount to where I'd be able to tell you a little bit about rotators. So we're going to kind of just take a brief overview of rotators today, and I also want to touch on something that's kind of come up in relation to some previous videos where I was showing everyone how it's possible to make a sun move through the sky, and a rotator figures into that quite prominently. The thing is, though, one of the viewers was having some difficulties with that, which prompted me to look into the whole issue a little deeper, and I'm going to cover that, too, in this. And I think it's a thing worth covering because, basically, this is a thing in Dreams that I think if you're a new person to Dreams, especially, this could be a really aggravating and confusing thing if you don't know what's going on. It's kind of wonky and weird, and just one of these little things in Dreams that is just kind of... If you don't know what's going on, it'll really mess with you. But anyway, let's get into it. First, we're going to kind of just go over what rotators are and what they do very briefly, and then I'm going to get into that other business that we talked about. So, what I'll do is I'll start by, we'll just put out a sphere. And we'll find out that grid snap, when you're using rotators, is often quite important here. Let's see. So we've got a sphere there. Okay, rotate it around a little bit. That's not necessary, but it is a sphere. But we're gonna just put it there. Okay, so it's not dead center. We want it dead center. There we go. It's dead center, I believe. But I'm gonna go in and get a rotator. Do just a very basic. They're in movers and output. This here, which is located in gadgets right there. But movers and output. You go near the front here, and you'll find this brick with the circular thing going around it. There's several other kinds. There's the advanced rotator, the look-at rotator, the rocket rotator. But we're not going to get into those. This is the very base level rotator. Get one of these and you'll get this little gadget out here. And what this does... I'm going to stamp it in our scene. What this does is it basically just does exactly what, you know, rotation. It spins something around and around an axis. It just spins it round and round. That's all. Now, if we open it up with L1 square, we can get this little tweak menu and we can see all these different settings, which I'm not really going to mess with all this or get into this stuff that I don't usually myself tend to change any of this stuff, but all these damping settings and things which could be used for more advanced stuff. But it's still, basically this is a very basic gadget here. We got the output. I tend to use this in order to get our object spinning. I am just going to take this affected objects thing and connect it to the object we want to spin. Once we do that, we'll see this rotation axis pop up, but it shows us the direction that the thing is spinning, and it gives us an idea of the speed. And currently the axis is going around X, and you can change that by grabbing this here handle and moving it around. What I recommend to do in most cases, you're probably going to end up wanting to do this. There's probably a few that it wouldn't matter, but I would go to guides, set your grid snap on, because then when you can grab this, you just, say we want it to go round and round on the horizon perfectly. The grid snap, you can just snap it straight up and it'll it'll be fine, you know. If you mess with it without this, it's going to get all wonky, and you'll never be able to really fix it easily. But, basically, yeah. So, let's say we want it to spin this way. So, we want our globe to spin this way. It will spin. Now, if we press play, we'll get closer so we can see some of the... You can see that it's spinning, you know, and you can press pause. We can reduce the speed if we want. Down to nothing, down to very slowly. So it spins much slower now that we got the speed set. But anyway, that's all. This is all basic. Turn that back up. This will spin this round and round on the axis. So you would use rotators. I think most people would think of something maybe like a, I don't know, like a spinning fan or a windmill. That's a good example. But there's a lot of things, like a spinning planet, like I showed in the beginning. Just anything that you just need something to spin round and round. Basically is what you use a rotator for. This is strength. Like I said, I don't really mess with those things too often. But anyway, that's how you hook it up. Now, an alternative way, I'm going to delete the wire real quick here, to hook it up is you can also grab the thing. Let me turn off the guides. And you can stamp it to the surface. If you hold down L1 and R2, you can stamp it to the surface, and that will also hook it up. But basically, I tend to not do that. I tend to just hook it up. I don't know that there's any special difference in doing that way, but I tend to just hook it up going through to this and connecting this wire directly to the object or the group. And you want to be mindful of, if you make it a group, like, see, I'm going to duplicate this out. I'll duplicate that out, and I'll group those together. If you're making a group, and you want the whole group to spin around, you want this thing to be outside of it, this gadget, and you want to just hook it to the group. It'll make the whole group spin round. Now you can see, this rotation axis is slightly off center now of our main sphere. And that's actually going to lead into the main meat of this video. But I'm going to reverse everything back to the way it was. We're going to delete this wire there for a second. And we might just test real quick, because we want to kind of get into this a little bit. What happens if you put a rotator inside the group? So, okay, I'm just going to go in, and I had to turn off briefly the UI, or turn it back on, actually. I would recommend this in Dreams generally, especially if you're just starting out, but have the UI on full visual in your preferences. That way you'll get this, whenever you go into the groups, you'll get, everything will turn black and white. It'll give you a good indicator that you're going inside the group. It'll be very confusing if you have that off. Sometimes you don't know if you're scoped in or not, and a lot of bad things can happen. Anyway, we're going to put this inside just to mess around and see what happens. When we have the rotator inside, let's say we hook it up to something. So yeah, if you got it inside the group, and you got two things grouped together like this, and your rotator's inside, it's just going to make one of those things spin, the thing it's hooked up to, if it's inside the group. If it's outside the group, hooked up to both, it'll make the whole shebang spin. So, just to make sure we got that all cleared up. I'm going to take this out now again. So anyway, though, like I said before, we had when we hooked this rotator up to the group, we saw that from the outside. We hook it up. Let me bring that back up so you can see the rotation axis. We can see that the rotation axis here, which used to be on center, right directly center of our sphere and our scene, by the way, is now slightly off kilter. Just by a little bit, but it's off. It's wonky. And if you want something to be really precise, this is going to be a problem. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, and I kind of want to address this. Just in general for everybody, for all time, kind of, because this is a thing in Dreams that's wonky, is this business with controlling where a rotator's axis goes. Now this is not, like I said, this is not nice if you want you know, you got something, and say you got to have a part sticking off, you know, a spinning object, you know, that you want. Like, I don't know, say you wanted a single blade on a fan, you know, for some reason. You don't want your axis to change on your fan or whatever. You want it, or say you have a solar system, you know, with different planets at different sizes and different distances from your sun. Say this is your sun, and you want the whole thing to spin around. You don't want the axis to your system going off center. You know, just because you added extra planets and stuff. You want your axis to still be at the sun. The center, the very center. But it's not. And this is the thing about Dreams, it's kind of dumb. I don't know why this is, if this is just oversight, or if this is an actual technical thing, but, well, we can see that it's actually a little bit off-kilter in the y-axis as well. It's a little bit higher than the... But, I don't know, like I said, if this is, you know, needs to be this way or not, but, the thing is, you can't in Dreams, for whatever reason. I know of no way for us to grab this axis. We can mess with this, control that, but you can't grab the actual center axis and adjust it manually. There is no way to grab it and adjust it. You can't, you know, snap back this whole thing to the center and get it on center. It would make things super easy if that was actually a thing in Dreams and you didn't have to. But because it's like this is what you have to keep in mind. What appears to happen with Dreams in this rotation axis is when you hook up a rotator to an object or group, Dreams tries to figure out what the center of mass is for your object, like the actual center of mass. Like, we got two objects here. So this is what I see, is what Dreams is doing is it's going, you know, taking both of these, and it's kind of like averaging up where the center of mass is, and it's putting it right about there for these two things. It's like, well, it's slightly between that one, but that one's smaller than this one, blah, 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 all this math stuff, and it's like, there's where the actual center of this misshapen object is, and that's where I'm going to put this rotation. So, that's the answer. Now, the solution to this problem is basically you have to try to create like I'm trying to look for the right word, but like an equal distribution of all your mass and your object or whatever is what you have to try to create in order to keep things on center. And what that entails, basically, let's delete this real quick. So as you can see, we deleted that and it went back to the dead center of our scene and our sphere. But basically, let's say we want to make a solar system. We will do that. And we'll try to show you how we can do this. So I'm going to delete this real quick just while we're making this. But let's say we make a solar system. Here's a planet. There's a little bigger planet a little further out. Let's put one out here that's kind of large, in charge. Maybe like a little further out. Here's one quite far. You know, here's our Pluto. I don't know. Pluto's not a planet anymore, but whatever. That's our dwarf Pluto thing. So, there's our solar system. Let's group all our solar system together here. I got a planet. Okay, so let's hook this up and see what we get. You know what to expect, right? So here we go. Okay. Yeah, so that is not the center of our solar system, and if it spins, the sun should not be spinning around. Right? That's not what we want at all. And like I said, this, if you're new to Dreams, this really will grind your gears. So, our goal is, we have to make our solar system. Somehow, we gotta tell the thing that the mass center is still in the center. So one of the ways you can do this is you can get... Well, actually, we don't need to. We can just copy out these. Since we're just dealing with spheres, we don't need to start a new sculpt. But what you can do is, we're gonna take... I'm going to disconnect this, we'll set it up again. You can take your sun, say, I would put the grid snap on for this too. Clone our sun. Our sun's right at the center of the scene anyway, so... Clone our sun out here. And what I'm going to do with our sun is I'm going to scale it up. This clone of our sun, I should say, and we're going to scale it up until it envelops the solar system entirely. Okay? So you're like, well, Billy, now we can't, you know, it's no good. Where's the solar system? It's inside this supergiant or whatever it is. It's like, well, yes, it is. But this is Dreams. So what we're going to do is, first, let me go inside here. Let me, okay, I cannot see through this thing. We got to move this outside, or else we're not going to be able to see what we're doing. We'll move that out there. Okay. Okay. So, with our visibility on, let's hook our rotator up. This is all now our group. Because this giant sun is still in the group. We'll hook this up to the giant sun. Okay. Now, it's hard to see from this distance, but you'll notice the rotation point now seems to be on center. We'll check this later. What we're going to do, because this is Dreams, we get back in our group, get on our giant sun's tweak menu, go to its physical properties, turn off visibility, which I'd probably also turn off cast any shadows and all that stuff too, but now we don't have to look at it, and you know, it might as well not exist. Let's go to our rotator again. Yes, okay, so as you can see now, we've got our axis of rotation on our solar system, which was wonky before, is dead center. And the reason that is because our giant object that's basically enveloping the entire solar system is acting as an equal mass distributor, whatever, all this fancy junk, but it's basically telling Dreams this is the center, because this whole thing Dreams looks at as the mass of the object, and it's put in a dead center of this thing. So, and we can turn this thing invisible, and so there we go. We got our solar system spinning dead center just like we want. Now, this is one way to do this. This is, in certain instances, you may want to do this. Now, in the case of my previous video, which, like I said, a viewer was having trouble with, I advised everyone to make a giant wheel and put the sun on it. Now, I was using a paint flex sun, which does not affect things the same way as a physical sun. Now, a viewer was experiencing a problem where they were wanting to hook up a physical sun object to the wheel, and it was causing it to go off center. Even when the sun object, I tested it, even when the sun object was not, you know, large or outside the wheel, it was still causing issues. So I did find, though, an alternative method, a way of dealing with this problem. If you have something and you want the rotation center to be somewhere, there's another way to achieve this equal distance. And essentially what you want to do, briefly I'm going to deconnect that, is let's say we want a spinning wheel with one object at one end, you know. Let us say, turn the grid back on. Let's shrink that a little bit. Let us say this. Let's say that we want something out here. This. We want this to go round and round the center point. Okay? So we're going to have the same problem, in that it's not going to put our axis, if we hook it up now, it's going to put it right there, not the center point. But what you can do, another way that you don't have to make a giant sphere around everything to create this equilibrium or whatever, is we would duplicate out this and just make sure that you put this duplicate the exact number of distance away from the center that this one is, only put it on the opposite end. So we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4. We got to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be right there. So now they're exactly opposite each other from the center. So what you would do now is group those together. And if we hook the rotator up, it should put our center axis of rotation dead center of our thing. So we can also, you know, say we were doing like the sun in my previous video, just put that sideways. And they go around. You know, like, you might say, like, well, Billy, what about the extra? Well, what did we do with the sphere? We just get into the group, go to the physical properties, turn off the shadows and the visibility. I think we got this preview and visibility. There you go. You can't see it. It might as well not exist. It's just there as a placeholder, just there to tell Dreams where the center of rotation is, and you basically just have one object going round and round your center point that you want. Now that right there is an alternative method to the giant sphere or giant object enveloping everything and giving the center point. So, you know, if you can't for some reason use that, you might try this. It'll probably work. You know, you have to be your own judge of what you need at the time. But that's a method to get around that. And yeah, if you want to put a physical sun in the previous method of making a sun go through the sky, that video I made previously, this would be the method to get around that. Alternatively, you don't even need to maybe turn the visibility off on this one. You could use it for a moon or something. I don't know. But this is a way to get around that, basically, if you can't or don't want to use the giant object method, or it's not working right. This might be something to try out. Basically, that's about it with that. But I just wanted to basically impart this aspect of rotators and Dreams, because this is a thing that really kind of got me really messed up early on when I was trying to figure out what to do to deal with them, because it was really irritating. Because, like I said, Dreams has no easy way to just fix the center of rotation, which I honestly don't know why that is, but it doesn't have that. And if you don't know what's going on, it really makes you tear your hair out trying to figure this out. But basically, that's how it works. Ultimately, the rule of thumb with the rotators is Dreams wants to know the center. You just have to figure out a way to make everything equal, you know, with the object, so that Dreams thinks, and like you can mess with the visibility and stuff afterwards, so it's not a problem. Just be aware to use placeholder objects, you know, fake objects that aren't really, you know, going to be visible or anything, but you can use them to your advantage to tell Dreams what to do. I am really sorry that there's no really easy way, but, you know, I'm not the Dreams developer, so it's not really my fault. But, yeah, that's about it. That kind of sums up all that I wanted to cover, and I really hope that helps. Now we're going to give credit where credit is due to those people that support us on Ko-fi. We really appreciate all your support. Anybody who wants to support us, get your name in the credits. We have tiers for monthly memberships over there, which will get your names in the credits. You can also go over there and do one-time donations if you don't like monthly stuff. If you enjoyed the video, if it was helpful, then leave us a like. You know, give a subscription. That stuff's completely free. And leave a comment if you have some further questions about anything in the video, or you have some kind of idea about something else in Dreams that, you know, you're curious about an answer to. We try to answer and solve these problems. We're not entirely capable of solving every issue perfectly, but we do our best, and we always look for new opportunities. Side note, if you're interested in getting your hands on the Earth that was seen at the beginning of this video, that's freely remixable to the public. If you have Dreams, you can just go search my profile or my creations. It's The Simple Earth. I think that's the title, but you can get your hands on that. And altogether, I just hope this was helpful in some way to somebody. Until next time, this has been Billy Cultist. Bye-bye.